is that having multiple streams of income. So,
Right.
even though this is a day gig and it's considered full time on some levels, this is my side hustle.
Okay. Right. Do I have to go live? I'm already live, so I sent you the link.
Okay, you're already live.
Uh-huh.
Okay, hold on. Let me get in there. Okay.
I want to see what happens.
Okay. So let me see now if I can see. Okay, allow the camera. All right, will it not let me use my? Okay. Oh, I know why I can't use because I'm on the phone with you. So let me enter the studio.
I see you. I see you.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Had the wrong.
Either because I know you were still on the show when I first logged in.
Right, but the link probably was old. It was probably old link because I had sent you the link before I got on. You remember I had sent you the link yesterday or last night or something like that. So when I log back in today, it's a different login. That's.
Are you on Facebook or you just on StreamYard?
Oh, yeah, I'm on StreamYard.
Okay, but you're not broadcasting to Facebook.
Well, it's got 2 Facebooks, Twitters. I got about 6 of them up there, broadcast, Pinterest, all of them.
Okay, so when you made this link, did it broadcast, or did you send it to your platforms, or did you just send it?
It automatically do it all thing. I sent the link to you. The link.
Okay.
Yes, it sent it to you, so that's who I sent it to. But you popped up there, so I guess add to the stream.
Okay, you want to bring me in? Hold on, let me close out the conversation on the phone so I can use my mic.
Okay. There you go. There you go. I can't hear you, but
Okay.
oh, I hear you now.
Okay, great.
So when I get ready to have a guest on, I got to do it during the broadcasting.
Well, not necessarily. You just have to make sure that they have the right link. So let's say you are creating a broadcast. Let's say you're going to create a new broadcast, and I'm sitting on StreamYard right now, so I can speak more succinctly. Is that you press create broadcast? You're going to go through whether it's a new broadcast or whether it's a pre-recorded video, and then you're going to click your destinations. That's what it asks. That's why I was asking you when you made this particular link, that you click to the destinations. It's going to ask you select destinations. And for this particular instance, we would have.
It didn't ask me for destination. I just did invite, sent you the link, and when you popped up at the bottom, then I just clicked and you went beside me.
Okay, but you must have already had it preset, because it's going to ask you, it has to ask you, unless you have it preset, what destinations you want to choose. So all the destinations mean is, am I sending it to Facebook? Am I sending it to YouTube? Am I sending it
Yeah.
So
all the destinations checked.
Okay, so it's broadcasting right now as we speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is that, in the future reference, you just want to do like a tutorials, you just want to have a conversation or whatever the case may be. You don't have to you can record. That way, you can use this pre-recorded or you can use it later in whatever episode you want to use in the future. But once you do that and you select your destinations, then you'll be able to enter the studio, or you can invite guests via the link by clicking on the side, and then you'll have your way in which to send that information out to your potential guests. But the beautiful thing about it is you can actually send it via email. You can copy it to the clipboard, or you can find that person's email and then send it to them directly, so they have that copy. So you don't have to do it immediately. You can send it in. I think it'll let you send it up to 5 days in advance, 7 days in advance.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do it that way. But you just have to make sure that that's the right link. Because if they click and it's not the right link, or because I've done this occasionally, I'll send a link that I did previously thinking that that was a new link. And then they'll be sitting on the blank screen like I was,
Right.
not being able to communicate with you because you're in two different.
I think it's better when I get on there, set up, open up, then I click invite and send you the link from the show already open.
Okay.
So that's what happened then.
Okay.
That link I had sent to you last night or yesterday or something like that.
Okay. I mean, you'll get comfortable with it and you'll figure out what works best for you. The only thing about sending the link immediately is, if people are not checking their stuff, or, they're not really abreast upon, the tech.
Right. So that's why I'd rather give the time and the date that you want your guests to come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have that link. But I like I say, I sent it yesterday or last night. But when I got on there, it didn't automatically pick up.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because I was like, I saw you on Facebook, and I was like, okay, cool, he's still on there, because it was like I said, it was like 102, 103,
Okay.
and I clicked on the link and it was black. I was like, oh, wait a minute, he already got off that quick. I'm like, nah, there's no way.
No, it was almost an hour.
You went in with the information that you needed to cover because, the information is so important that, once you start talking, you're going to get, 30, 40, 50 minutes in easy, just because this information is so important and people really need to understand that it's a transformational mindset that has to take place right now. It's not, you can't just be, indifferent or apathetic. You have to be very intentional with your time, even if we look at gas prices, because I know, you're driving premium and me as well. So with the price of gas, even though it's not something that's going to make us stop what we're doing or, no longer participate in driving, because that's just not an option. But it is going to make us more intentional and more focused and concentrate on how we can get the best usage and the best utility, if you will, of our resources. So in this time and season, this is not a time and season to be perplexed, because you need to be prepared. This is not a time to be afraid or scared. This is a time to focus in, concentrate, lock in on our goals, and be very intentional with our time, our talent, our energy, and our treasure. If we want to be able to elevate and grow and be able to see things proliferate and become profitable in the near now and the near future.
That's correct.
So yeah, I say all that just to say, like, I know that this is going to grow, and the conversations that are going to be had from this are going to be enriching and also enlightening to people, so that they can become all that God has designed and destined for them to be.
Right. It's, for my listeners out there, I had technical difficulties, and me and Mr. Keeler, we got together, and that's what we're doing now, discussing what happened. So, we got it all down pat now. So I know
and the beautiful thing about this technology is that, even though there might be some technical difficulties, it's still a learning process, and then you can grow from those. So I think that that's a great case in point of how to begin a conversation, and not only begin a conversation, but also use that as the scope of our focus in terms of moving forward in our business practices, and especially in this economy, is that, we can look at all of the statistical data and all of the, the things, the metrics that are being presented to us daily on the news. And that's not by accident. That's by design to make us afraid, to get us into a fixed mentality, or what some would call a bear market, right? So that we're, hesitant, that we're skeptical, right? That we're filled with these things that cause us to think, ooh, I don't need to spend that. I don't need to do that. I need to be a little bit wary of that. And some of that is good because it makes us a little bit more cautious. It makes us a little bit more aware of how we're using our time, our talent, our treasure, and energy. But at the same time, it shouldn't castrate us, and it shouldn't cause us to ostracize ourselves from opportunity. It should help us to become more focused and definitely more structured, more organized, so that we can utilize our 86,400 seconds, 1,440 minutes we've been so blessed with. But at the same time, it should not cause us to lose the ability to have the creativity, to have the spontaneity, and also to have the imagination to be able to create and be able to improvise and to be able to take chances. I would say educated chances. I would say chances that are very solidified in the facts and the information and figures that we have at our disposal. But we also need to be able to proceed and proceed with faith. And a lot of times that's going to put us in the crosshairs of failure. And as Denzel Washington has said, and others have said in motivational speeches better than I can say, even at the present time, is that you want to fall forward. You want to fall, and you even want to incur some failure, because some of our greatest lessons learned are from failures.
From failure, yes.
Our greatest opportunities arise from difficulties and suffering. I heard T.D. Jakes say this, and the birth pangs create miracles. And you sit back and think about that, even from just an analogy. The birth pains. A woman going through, a family going through birth pains. Some women say it's excruciating, and say that it's like that unto death. But what a beautiful life is birthed and born
yes,
from that experience. So I guess it's paradoxical. I guess it's the balance of the circle of life, as some would say, is that tremendous pain creates a bundle of joy, if you will. So, oh yes, ma'am. So definitely, I think that all of those things being equal, all of those things, being present in our situation, should help us and stimulate us to be more focused, to concentrate and lock in. And that's one of my buzzwords. It's one of my phrases that I love saying: lock in from an athletic perspective. You want to be tuned in on your objectives. You want to be a star in your role. You want to execute and be very precise, and to use that precision through all of the four quarters. Even if we go to overtime, we want to make sure we're taking our time and doing everything we can to be successful, because at the end of the day, everybody remembers winners, and nothing succeeds like success, and it's not an accident. I heard Johnny Unitas say it. They asked him right before the big game. He was going up against one of the most formidable teams at that time. I think it was the Cleveland Browns, and they asked him, this is a big moment for you. How are you overcoming the fear? How are you, moving forward? Aren't you afraid? Aren't you scared? And he said, I'm not scared. And they said, why are you not scared? What do you mean? He said, I'm prepared.
I'm prepared. Absolutely.
And preparation. And that's what we're doing right now with this. We're preparing, right?
Yes.
We're getting all the kinks out of the way. And by doing that, we create a way in which we can achieve success and we can accomplish our goals. Not so that, we can, be vain and try to be narcissistic, but that we can utilize our energy and our talents and our treasure and our abilities to be able to be more efficient and effective.
Absolutely, man. You're exactly right, man. So, and that's why I focused on the mindset, to help people to think along the line. I talk to you, I listen to you, and it just takes me to another level, because we're like-minded. And that's why I'm trying to get people to the point to where we can be like-minded. And that way, whatever's going on, it's going to come the same way, as long as you're in that culture of like-minded people. So that's why I like, you mentioned Denzel Washington. You know, he speaks of like-mindedness in the culture of people, but he's speaking to everybody. It's not a specific culture, but we're trying to build wealth. So we want a culture of people thinking the same way of building wealth and not just making money.
Absolutely.
So everything has its own avenue, and that's what I'm trying to reach the people to get that done.
Mhm.
And you, like I say, you said something the other day when we were talking about 2016. Well, what I said in 2016 is here now. So I gave a little bit of that today, you know, while you was trying to get on. I gave a little bit that today, you know, the have and have nots, you know. And at that time when I said that, I was watching a movie called The Have and the Have Nots.
Wow. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it's exactly what we're talking about today. They had the wealthy people that controlled everything. Like I told him on the call earlier, they controlled everything. And the have-nots was always going through. What we're going through right now. That the ones that we consider the have-nots, and that's the working class and the people that's less fortunate, that don't have any wealth, any form of financial stability. They just existing because they are making money. They're not trying to build wealth. And
Right.
that's not to play out. It's even hard to make the money because things are not as normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you bring up 2016, so I definitely wanted to go there and talk about, you know, the importance of what you shared with us, and I wasn't the only one that shared it with, but maybe I was one of the ones that was listening.
Oh, you were listening, man. You, as you're
Uh,
using one of your words, you're very, I think, if I'm saying it right, prolific. Am I saying it right?
yes, sir. Absolutely. Prolific.
Yeah. And Miss Claudia, this is Sid Keeler. It's a longtime business partner of mine, at least 7 years ago from Houston, Texas. He was my guest today that I was going to have on my show, but we started conversating afterwards. So we set up the whole thing like we was just not doing it. So that's what you're hearing right now. And thank you for getting on.
Absolutely. Thank you, dear sister. And just to go back to, I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to make sure that people understand the point of what you were saying in 2016, you know, before the pandemic, before Harvey, before a lot of these different things that happened, that many of us would have never planned on happening, but they happened.
They happen.
Right. You were giving us not only important tools and techniques, but you were giving us game on how to prepare ourselves, just as Johnny Unitas said. So when those things happen, and I'm just being totally transparent, when those things happen, I was concerned for our people. I was concerned for particular groups of people who had not prepared. But
Right.
when you told us in 2016, they're going to be the haves and the have-nots. And the
Right.
only thing we have to decide is which side we're going to be on.
Exactly.
What's going to be key is not necessarily just how much money we make, even though that's important. We have to make, you know, a certain amount to be able to live effectively and efficiently in this society, right?
And
But
breakfast.
the key that you were stressing is it's not just how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
Keep.
And having strategies, having an understanding, having an ability to be in a cohort or a network, if you will, of like-minded individuals, as you're talking about, who understand the culture of building wealth, who understand the culture of saving, who understand the culture of investing, because those are the cultures that I really want to be a part of, because those cultures create, those cultures
Yeah.
generate,
Yeah.
and those cultures enable us to experience more of what life has to offer. And this is just being transparent. In 2016, you were telling us we
Yes.
need to be able to take care of our business.
Exactly.
The effects of 2022 were caused years and years prior to. I want to say that again. The effects of what we're experiencing now
Mm-hmm.
are not because of now. They're byproducts because of what happened
Then.
with
Yeah.
then, right? As you
Absolutely.
and I think that's something that should stimulate everyone listening to the sounds of our voices to say, okay, I know right now I might not be where I want to be, but I know in the future now, right? I know in years to come, I'm going to be where I want. I'm going to be able to take care of not only my household bills, but I'm going to be able to build my dreams. I'm going to be able to build those things that I want to do. I'm going to be able to focus and concentrate and be able to achieve greater and better and more efficiently. But that doesn't just start with, saying it. It doesn't just start with writing it down. It doesn't just start with beginning it. No, it starts with actually implementing a structure and executing it. And the reason why I take it to that level is because now we're in days of execution. There are a lot of people who have a lot of courses and a lot of seminars, and I'm being invited to workshops every single day. And I'm not denigrating that nor disparaging that, but hearing someone talk doesn't put money in your pocket.
Yes.
You're the one talking
Absolutely.
and paid for. You understand? So it's like just hearing someone speak is not good enough. I need to get a game plan. I need to get, some kind of tactical and strategy that will be able to implement and be able to be done, so that I can be able to see some real fruits for my labor. And I think that's the important part about the mindset and elevating our consciousness is that these are not mere words that go in one ear and out the other. No, we need you to begin to work that thing in between your two ears that is 3.5 pounds, but is innumerable and immeasurable in how profound, and using your word, prolific it is, so that we can begin to generate the kind of thinking, the kinds of thought processes that will begin to manifest the kinds of things we want to see in our physical reality. Because everything we see in the physical reality first started in the mind. But it wasn't just someone cavalierly thinking these things. No, they gave real deliberation, real time and concentration. They locked in, as I've been saying, they locked in on devising plans and then implementing those plans, going back to the drawing board, getting feedback, getting constructive criticism, and then beginning to work in a way in which was more efficient, more effective to produce better work products. Because we've seen over the course of the last year, we've seen a drastic increase in inflation and the cost of doing business. I was just looking in the month of June, it risen to 11%. And prior to that, it was at 8.5%.
Wow.
And and see, a lot of times people use these numbers and it's like, wow, okay, that's deep, but it don't really hit us until it hit our pocketbook. So when I break down and say, hey, we're paying 50% more for gas than we did last year.
Right.
16 to 20% more for energy. Eggs are costing $2 and $3 more. Those things make people click and say, wow, man, this is real. This is hitting us. And it's hitting us where it hurts, as the old folk would say, because, these are things that we need. We need gas. As you and I were talking about a few moments ago, even though it's not hurting us financially, it still is changing the way in which we operate because we're spending more. I don't know about you, brother, but it's costing me almost $80-$90 to fill up.
Wow.
And the thing is that now, if you don't have a business or you're not about your business, you're going to go out of business.
You're going out of business.
I don't just mean, your business, your commercial property, or, your, whatever it is. I'm talking about life. I'm talking about the life is a business. When you get that bill and it's got your name in capital letters, that lets you know, that cue you in, that they're not just looking at you as an individual, but they're looking at you as a business. And how you handle your business is essential, it's critical. There are steps you need to take. There are courses and I say this, there are courses and folk that you need to become familiar with, so that not only can you understand but you can begin to implement what that understanding can lead to. Because there are a lot of people who will tell you, all of the tidbits, and they can name the factoids, and they
Mhm.
can give you all of, the jargon and the lexicon, and sound very impressive, but you wouldn't trade bank accounts with them.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You know,
And that's my barometer. I listen to people I trade bank accounts
oh,
with.
you,
You know
you
what I'm saying?
know,
So it's
yeah,
like,
you
I wouldn't,
always say that.
you
And
know,
it's amazing how God works, man. When you get a chance, you listen to the program part that I did before you came on, before this one. It's like, okay, you're talking about exactly what I talked about,
mm,
and we never collaborated on what we were going to talk about. But you're along the same line that I was talking about. So people now can understand that it's not a one-sided speaking like you were talking about. It's inevitable for everybody because you're in Houston and I'm in Arkansas. So it's the same thing is happening to everybody everywhere. So they are getting a chance to hear from you being in Houston on the subjects that I was talking about today. But I switched you back to the 2016 because I wanted them to hear that side from somebody else that remembered what I said in 2016.
mm,
See, and that's a great thing because see, I was telling people in some of my other ones that what God used you for, He's going to use you for that. And He's going to give you things to say and do. Other people might not like it, but it's going to manifest. So, and that just confirmed what I had just spoke of and God had just showed me when you said, man, 2016 is here now. It is the have and the
yeah,
have nots now. So that was said all those years ago, but yet and still, it's manifesting, like you said before, in 2022 is here, but it started way back then.
mm-hmm,
People didn't take heed to what was being said. They are worse off than the people that actually listen because you're a different person from when I first met you.
absolutely.
When it come down to finances and things of that nature. You had the normal working person's financial strategy like that, but to be business strategizing and to seeing what the economy is doing to the people and wanting to help the people, that's really what connected me and you a lot because you have the same desire. And like I tell people, it's okay to help people, but if you want to be a changing force in somebody's life, we're going to have to build some wealth and not just make money.
Right.
It's going to take finances. I don't expect Oprah Winfrey to buy everybody a new house or a new car or help everybody she meet to be better off, right? But if we create a culture of millionaires, we could help more people in America because it's not just one person. Now it's a culture. Just say it's 500 of us, and we're helping people buying them homes, what we see in less fortune, and actually doing some on hand stuff. Look, here's the house. They don't even know where it came from. But we can easily find out who's in need because we already know.
Right.
The mayor said the senator from Georgia today, he was saying that I grew up in the projects. Look where I am now. And I want to show people that it don't matter where you come from, you can still be who you want to be and make a difference.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? That's profound because, he let them know he didn't have silver platter. I'm from the projects.
Absolutely.
And that was powerful. He was on the talk show, The View. He
Mm-hmm.
was on The View. And, people was trying to get political with it. He just broke it down and left it. Look, this is the subject that we're talking about. It's not the Democrat, it's not the Republican, it's not all of that. Somebody asked, well, do you think Trump should be locked up? He said, well, we'll leave that for the court that's examining and all that kind of stuff. He was trying to get a different point over to them concerning themselves and other people that can empower themselves and not have to worry about all the other stuff that's going on out here in the world. See, that's why he said, I grew up in the projects, but it didn't stop me from being here. I'm a minister as well. So, and I said, man, that's powerful. That's exactly the way I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think just to veggie back on, because we definitely have to focus in on what matters most and where we get the most bang for our buck, if you will, using
Absolutely.
or that idiom to convey that we only have so much energy and so much time. And while, we need to be aware of what's going on in current America and events across the world, the most important event is our own, right? And how we use our 24 hours. And again, our 86,400 seconds, 1,440 minutes, we're so blessed with. And that's why moment, the present. And what better gift can we give ourselves than to put ourselves and our future self in a better situation? And that's going to be done by us looking at our situation honestly, being very blunt, very candid, and very respectful. Because a lot of times, you mentioned the projects, and the thing is that while we might live in the projects don't live in us.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And even more importantly, when you understand that the projects were designed, right? They were designed for a particular reason and a particular purpose. And if we allow our mind to get sidetracked or to get confused or to become, as the Bible would say, double-minded, then we lose opportunities to bring forth our gifts and to be able to obtain the treasures that God has in store for us.
Absolutely.
So we do projects in school, and it has a rubric. That means that it has certain things that are outlined and detailed. And if you do this, you're going to get this grade. If you do that, you get this grade. If you don't do that, then you're not going to get anything that's going to be worth graded.
Yes.
And it's very clear. And I think a lot of times, regardless of our situations, because I've been in some very difficult and challenging situations and environments, and I've always found, going back to the example of the rubric, if you follow the instructions and you do as directed and you keep your mindset focused on the things that add value to you, the things that uplift and engage you, if you embrace those challenges, if you persist in the face of setbacks, if you seek diligently the kingdom of heaven. And I know many times when people say that, oh, okay, you sound religious. No, it's a spiritual concept, but it's very applicable logically. When I'm seeking forth the kingdom of heaven, that means I'm not stealing from folk. You know what I mean? That means I'm not doing anything that's corrupt or fraudulent. That means I'm doing good business. And if you do good business, you're going to get repeat customers or clients.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to build a reputation that people can trust, which is going to then bring more people to do business with you. Right?
Absolutely.
And you learn from your criticism by taking positive and constructive feedback so that you can begin to develop, you can begin to grow, you can begin to get some level of mastery. And people pay for mastery. I talk to young people all the time, and they want, large salaries like all of us do, right? They want to get paid. They want to get their bag. And I say to them, what have you mastered?
Right.
Because the bag follows mastery. People go see Tiger Woods because he mastered golf. Phil Mickelson mastered golf. They go watch and pay for Michael Jordan's Air Jordans because he mastered that.
Yes. Yes.
Mastery, right? Mastery creates the economy, right? Or the currency that you can use and utilize to proliferate. So I would say to anyone who's trying or striving to create wealth, what have you mastered? And what are you pursuing in mastery
Right.
because the dollars follow intelligence and expertise.
Absolutely.
You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? So I think that that's important. And then I'll say this closing, and I think this is so extremely important. It becomes kind of it becomes almost malarkey and barnery because we hear it so often, and it's used as a tool of exploitation. But it's sincere and true if you fully understand it and you're able to implement it in your behavior. Find inspiration, okay? Whether it be from the success stories of others, whether it be from loved ones, whether it be from someone who inspires you, or even yourself, inspire yourself. And the reason why I say that is because there's so much monotony in business and so many things that are mundane that if you allow your inspiration to become deprived or you lose that sense of inspiration, then you won't be motivated to take the next leaps and
Yes.
challenge yourself
Hmm.
for mastery and to move yourself to embrace those challenges that you must face.
Right.
To use your intelligence not in a fixed way, but in a way that creates greater curiosity. I
Yes.
love to say this, man, and people, they can take it how they take it, but normally they take it very well when they think about it. You know, we all come from the Creator. We're creations of the
Yeah.
Creator that created us to create.
He designed us to create. We are the
To create.
creative creatures.
And so many times we allow ourselves to get filled with fear,
Hmm.
worry,
Yeah.
doubt,
Yes.
skepticism.
Yes.
What does that do? That stops us from creating.
Man, it's like you heard me in repeating what I said today, man. So that's just like a confirmation to people if they're listening to the first half. Here, nothing happens without a reason. Maybe the glitch in the system was meant to be because it separated us there for a second, but then when we did get back together, you reiterated basically everything that I already said, I talked about, but you just reinforced it with much more from another standpoint. So, but like-mindedness is still there because we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about building wealth. We talk about people not struggling. We're talking about what God intended for us to do, be, and become based on what He put in us. He created us to be creatures, to create, but we fall into those categories that Satan has put out there: fear, doubt, and skepticism. And it all means nothing. That means that you're not going to do, you're going to resist everything that come up. But you just showed them that they need to be more open-minded about what they do. And I told people that there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire. You covered that part too when you was talking about the different things that people help you do and do this over here, and it all comes together and make one. But no self-made millionaires. You might create a company, you might structure the company, but when the company started making money and growing, other people got involved to help you to do that. So you didn't do it by yourself. So
No,
that
no,
was
you can't.
great.
I mean, it wouldn't even make logical sense to do it by yourself because if you did it by yourself, then all of the lessons that you learned would only stay with you.
That's
And
true.
that's not what all of the teachers that I respect and that consider themselves or others consider to be masters or very efficient,
Mhm.
they're only as profound and prolific as their students.
That's true.
Because when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, but also when the teacher is ready, the students will appear.
Exactly.
So so it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not parasitic, it's symbiotic. So I think, and the reason why I'm really keying in on this is because so much of what we see in pop culture is I did it by myself, or I made it, or I got to get mine, you got to get
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah.
And that's not how businesses that are functional. I mean, when all we have to do is, again, going back to find inspiration. when you look at what Microsoft did for Apple, right? When Bill Gates, was able to purchase Apple, and they were able to support and sponsor much of what Steve Jobs and Apple was doing, that not only was a lifeblood for Apple, but it also reinvigorated Microsoft. It gave them new ideas. It gave them new abilities. It gave them new infrastructure. It gave them new opportunities to be able to branch out and to expand business. So I'm just saying that to say that teamwork makes the dream work. But in terms of building wealth, especially if you're starting from a negative or you're in the red, so to speak, you're going to need to develop networks and partnerships so that they can be part and parcel of, if you will, your congregation to be able to help you elevate and grow. So in terms of working with others, it's a prerequisite. I've never seen a functional and effective business person, male, female, or any of the like of such, who was able to do it on their own. Because you need, especially in a capitalistic structure and system, you're going to need other vehicles, other vestiges, and other vessels, if you will, to be able to accomplish those things. And going back to sports, I mean, we live in a culture that's in star induced. So, you hear about LeBron, or you hear about Mike Trout, or you hear about, Peyton Manning, or you hear about these big names. But, these teams are filled with other men and women who play big of a part. They might be in the starring role. They might not be the lead, but they star in their role. And they have to win. That's what winning requires. It requires everyone to star in their role and to do what they need to do. And one of the key and critical things I just want to say before we close this conversation is you got to get uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Being uncomfortable. Absolutely.
Because in that process, there's greater growth. There's greater clarity that can come and arise. And also, there's a greater understanding of our abilities and inabilities. Then we got to research and seek out that help so that we can get prepared.
Absolutely.
And preparation, there has to be, and this is very important, there has to be a strong situational awareness. And what I mean by strong situational awareness is we have to key in and cue in on where we are, why we are where we are, and where we want to be, and how we're going to get to where we want to go. And those things require understanding the reality and being immersed in that reality, embracing the challenges and the obstacles, as we've said before, and gaining and gleaning clarity on what we expect of ourselves and others that we're working with, or juxtaposition with, or even oppositionally opposed to, so that we understand the battlefield. And I know some people don't like that terminology, but business is war without bloodshed.
That's right.
It really is.
It is, man. It is.
Be tactically and strategically aware of your purpose. And you have to use and utilize your regimen, your structures, and your men, if you will, or resources wisely. Otherwise, you're going to go out of business.
That's true.
We've seen since 2020, January of 2020, almost 60,000 evictions have occurred. And that's a light number comparative to those who left at the end of a lease and didn't have a home, or were, couch surfing and all of these different things that we've seen pop up on the internet, courtesy of folk not having the resources to be able to, live on their own. And that's an unfortunate thing. And society definitely needs to step up to the plate to make sure that price gouging and exploitation is not occurring. But the point in saying all of that is that there have been an enormous amount of people and situations and businesses that have faltered, that have fallen, that have expired, and that have died. And if your business is still going, I want to salute you. And if your business is not going, I also want to salute you and say, what can you learn from that situation so that you can make the next situation even more efficient, even more effective, and
Yeah.
even better? Because it's not about our mistakes. It's about what we learn from our mistakes and how we grow from our mistakes so
Yes.
that we make better decisions, choices in the future. And I'll close with this, but I think it's important. We got to take ownership.
Yes.
To build wealth, you have to take ownership. You have to take ownership of your situation as it is. And that's why situational awareness must be strong and must be present.
Right. Right.
We also have to take ownership of the future that we are going to create.
Exactly.
Courtesy of the Creator. Eye hath not seen, ear hath not heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man those things that God has prepared for them that love Him. And I know we love because we do it with our words and our deeds.
I
And
need that.
indeed, if
Yes.
we're concentrating, if we're focusing, if we're locked in, that's the buzzword, that's the buzz phrase. If we're
Yes.
locked in on what we need to do, then we're going to do it more efficiently, more effectively, and we're going to hopefully create better rewards and opportunities for ourselves moving forward so that when we look back, we'll say thank you to ourselves for
Yes.
being uncomfortable and getting comfortable being uncomfortable so that we can rid ourselves of the fear, worry, of the doubt, of the skepticism that's
Sir.
keeping us in bondage,
Absolutely.
right? So that we can hopefully achieve and see you at the top, like you always say to me.
Oh man, hey man, we're
We
gonna
got
see you at the
oh
top. I'm just, I'm like a teacher that's teaching college and somebody graduated or something. Just being a part of your life for those past 7 years, or however long I've been knowing you, imparting things, because I remember when I first met you, you asked me, so, well, how can I get that going for myself? And I
back.
tell people all the time that sometimes you have to be able to receive something. You don't know all about it, but at least you ask the most important question. I tell people that all the time. How can I make that happen for me? You said that, and you've been on the road,
Oh man,
and the two
fact-
young men gonna follow in your footsteps, man.
that's facts, man. That's facts. I mean,
Yes, sir. Yes,
like I
sir.
said, I tell this to people all the time. Like, meeting Mr. Townsend was instrumental because, again, going back to that point that I said a few minutes ago, find your inspiration. It
Mhm.
was inspirational, man. When I went to, and again, this we talk offline. This is not just for a show. This is
Right.
real life. I've been
Yes.
in your home. You know what I mean. You've
Yes.
opened up. So when you see someone succeeding, nothing succeeds like success. So that makes you feel like, okay, I might be right here. Now I can take it up another notch. Now I can go to another level. Now I can do this. Now I can start implementing these things. Now I can take these chances that I would have been afraid to because I would have listened to fear, skepticism, and worry and doubt. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
know that I have the ability, I have the tenacity, sagacity, veracity, and intensity to be able to achieve. And the current, see, it's, I'm gonna say this to you. It's We focus so much on the currency and not on the current,
Yeah.
meaning the energy and the vibration that we're sending,
Hmm.
because money or currency is a medium of exchange. And
Mm.
if we desire the money, we first must think about what we're putting into our activities.
Yes.
What are we doing with our time, our talent, our treasure,
Yes.
energy? You understand? Because money is a medium of exchange.
It is.
So we're exchanging our resources, we're exchanging our time, we're exchanging our talent. And
Yeah.
how can we develop those things so that it begins to elevate the money that it brings? And I think that that's an important thing to think about is we think about building wealth, but what have you mastered? What
Right.
have you become a master builder at? How
Hmm.
much do you know? How much do you understand? And what are you convicted to do with the information, the time, the treasures, the resources you have so that that can be worthy of an exchange of money.
Exactly.
You know, and I want anyone who's struggling, anyone who is hurting, anyone who listens to this message or hears this message or sees this message,
Mhm.
not to think we're talking down or not to think that we're patronizing you. Your situation is difficult, it's
Mhm.
challenging,
Mhm.
but that's because it's developing you to be
Exactly.
the best form of yourself. So
Exactly.
embrace it, accept it, walk in, take ownership of it. And I guarantee if you listen to Mr. Townsend and others who've done it, you'll see some changes. You'll see some things begin to make headways, and you'll find your way and make a better way for you and future generations to come. So I know and understand anyone listening to this message right now, you're going to be blessed not only by it, but you're going to bless someone else from the information, from the situations, and from the rewards and products that you produce from it. So it's a plum pleasing pleasure, my brother, to be with you.
My
Humble.
words.
We just did this naturally. This is us just doing what
Yeah,
we
I would say my
and
words, plum, pleasing pleasure.
man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. So we got
Yeah.
to do it very soon.
Okay. Appreciate it, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Said Keeler from Houston, Texas. I thank you for coming on, sir. It was like you say, a plum pleasing pleasure just to hear your voice. And he's a very, very educated man. He's a teacher. And I'm quite sure everybody that listened to him can tell that he's mastered words. It's only one person I saw was better than him at it, and was TD Jakes.
Oh wow. That's man.
Mastering the
Thank you.
words.
Thank you.
He's a teacher, and he takes whatever he get and he teach, and he do it in a teaching mode to where people can understand it and not be complicated. Keep it simple but powerful.
That's it, man. That's the methodology, and I definitely am humbled to be able to hear those words from you, because that's let me know that when your mentors see some light in you, that means that you're shining bright too. So I definitely thank
Absolutely.
you for always being a vessel of light and love and understanding and peace. And I would say to anyone who's listening to the sounds of our voices to make sure to reach out, because you can never have enough mentors. You can never have enough folk who care for you and support you and who benefit you in a positive way. Uh,
Absolutely.
it definitely, it's one thing I'll say. It takes a village to raise a child, but I also think it takes a village to raise everyone, because
Absolutely.
we all are benefited and we all are improved and we all are expanded when we're around people who give us good information, who give us quality, and who give us an understanding that enriches our lives. So
Yes.
it's a plum pleasing pleasure, man, my brother. And we got to do it again because there's so many people who need this information. I'm so happy that you decided to put this platform out there. And I'm just praying and hoping that everyone not only likes and shares and follows, but continues to do the work that needs to be done because it's so critical. It's so
All right. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you for coming on board, man. That's Mr. Sid Keeler. And I hope everyone received everything that he had to say today. It was inspiring. And as we always say, okay, you lost your mic there. You lost your mic. Okay. All right. So it was a plum pleasing pleasure, like he said. And I hope that everyone got something from that. Uh, and I love it because it's like uh, everything that I said earlier when Satan tried to interrupt the broadcast because did something that I had my first guess on and didn't do something right in technology. But I called him up and he said, well, let's do it now. And we got it. We kicked it off. So that's why we did the second session. So good information in the first session, even better information in the second session. But just let you know, where you're a willing vessel and God's in the midst, it will not fail. So, as I always say, Thank you, Mr. Keeler, for being on. Always victory. I thank each and every one. Miss Claudia, thank you for your comments. And to everyone out there in the sound of my voice, always victory. And I will see everybody at the top. Thank you very much.